Everyone has a unique gift, and Mike, the creator of the 1NELife podcast, believes most people don't know how to use their gifts or what they are. Mike wants you to see things from a different perspective and be true to yourself. The 1NELife podcast unites the world through art, fashion, music, and film. It inspires, motivates, and creates positive energy, love, and compassion to all communities, and creates an equal playing field for all. On the 1NELife podcast, they cover topics like building relationships, overcoming adversity, habits of healthy people, and much, much more. We only have one life to live. Be yourself and live your truth. Add the 1NELife podcast to your playlist.
I think that's
the
why
number
I feel so
1NELife. Available on Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and your favorite podcast platform.
That's what the show's for.
No.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to the 1NELife podcast. I am Mike MIC Reed, and as always, I have Brenda Hernandez from Pretty Little Poppy in the building with us. How you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
I don't know why you're nervous, because you've done this a million times with me.
I have no idea. I think I know why.
Shake it off. I
know. I think I know why, but
Why?
we're good, huh?
Why?
I just got that feeling.
You got the feeling about, you just going to open up today? Mm-hmm. You always do, though, but that's good.
I know.
Because we got to talk about, what's going on in our lives. Like, we got to continue to have these conversations, regardless of how hard they may be. Mm-hmm. And I know everybody's going through it. Everybody don't want to talk, but we have to.
Yeah.
We have to acknowledge our struggles and stuff. But we're going to get into that in a minute.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, I want to, acknowledge that it is Suicide Prevention Month. I want to give a shout out to Jacqueline Diaz over at You Are Enough Foundation. She was just recognized by the city of Palmdale.
I saw that.
That's amazing. Congratulations on that, Jackie.
Congratulations.
Yes, she's been doing a lot. She's such an amazing woman, and I so appreciate her and everything that she's doing to bring awareness to mental health and suicide, because that's a tough subject.
Yes.
Real tough subject to talk about, especially just losing a child. You and I were just talking about this before the show. Losing a child is I can't even relate to it.
I
Can't relate to it. Only thing I can relate to is losing a loved one, because everyone know I lost my mom at a young age, and that's just hard. Like, you never get over it, no matter what, right? Like, so I just met somebody that just lost their child. It wasn't through suicide, but it was through murder, and this is the month that she lost him, and it's been, I think, 6-7 years, and so she's having a rough time right now, and you're never gonna get over it.
Mm-mm.
It's just one of those things. Like, my mom, like, I'm 52. I'm never gonna get over it. Mm-hmm. I'm just constantly reminded of it every year during Mother's Day, or even when I just see somebody with their mom. Like, I look at it and I'm like, wow, I've never had that. Like, I love seeing people with their mom and those close relationships. Mm-hmm. Like, even with my kids, they have a really close relationship with their mom, and I love seeing that. Mm-hmm. But it does trigger me at times, because it's like, wow, I wish I had that, because I don't even know what that feeling is like.
Mm-hmm. It's a loss. It's a sense of loss.
Yeah. So it's rough. Like, I don't even know. Like, I need to talk to Jackie more, because I'm meeting more people, because I'm in this mental health space now, that a lot of people have lost, like, loved ones and, kids. And I honestly just don't know what to say.
I just said that to one of my friends, and it's like, I don't know what you're feeling. Mm-hmm. I don't know what to say, but I felt lost, and it hurts. I've hurt, but you still don't know unless you know. Right.
I think you don't say anything.
And that's why I did. I just,
I've had this conversation with Jackie before, and I think, you don't say anything, because there's nothing you can say, right? Mm-hmm. I think for the person who is going through it, they want to just be heard. Mm-hmm. So I think the best scenario is to just be there for them and just listen.
Mm-hmm. I think that would be for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, because even, great scenario, I just lost someone recently. Right. And I was talking to a friend one day, and she kind of made the day worse, because she was telling me all this stuff, but I already knew it. Mm-hmm. Right. And at the end of the conversation, like, I really felt like, dang, dude, I really just wanted you to listen. Like, I didn't need you to tell me all this stuff because I already know. Because when you're going through something like that, you do know. So even though sometimes we do need to be reminded of things, but I don't need you to sit there and tell me a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm not, like, you're not trying to hear it at the moment, right? Like, so for that day, for me, I wasn't trying to hear anything she was saying, even though everything she was saying was correct. But at the moment, I really just needed someone just be present and listen. And I think we make that mistake when we're with someone that just had a loss, and we try to make them feel better because, you know, we care about people and we want to, you know, give them advice and tell them what to do. But I think in the moment, they really don't want to hear anything. They're not trying to hear anything because nothing you say is going to matter, no matter if it's correct or not. Like I said, my friend, she was 1,000% correct in everything she was saying, right? And I told her this like a few days after that.
I was going to say, did you?
No, yeah, I did. Like, in the moment, I couldn't talk to her. I just shook it off, you know, because I didn't want to mess up the relationship, right? But a few days after that, I did have a conversation with her. And I told her exactly what I'm saying right now. I said, I really just wanted you to be present and listen to me. I said, everything you said was correct. But in the moment, I wasn't trying to hear none of that. I didn't care because it's not going to make the situation any better, no matter what you say right now. So I think for anybody that when you're in that situation, the best thing to do is just be present and just to listen.
What did your friend say when you said that, though?
She understood.
She understood?
100%, yeah, she understood. And she apologized. But, you know, she was just saying that she cared and she just was trying to get me out of my mood, which, again, that's what we all do. Yeah. But I don't think that was the time. Like, this is why, like, even like in some of my CAP class, we learned about how to listen, how to be constructive. You know how they say constructive criticism? Well, it's constructive listening as well. Like, you got to feel the person out. Like, you know, so when you're listening to them, like what I was telling her is like, yeah, everything you were saying was right, but I was just trying to vent. So when someone is just trying to vent and get something off their chest, you know, just let them be. Let them talk.
Now, could you say that, because that has happened before, could you say that, like, what if, so say me and you are talking, and from the beginning I'm like, I really know that you know, but I just need somebody to listen.
Right.
And then let me talk. You know, would that be a way to do it before, so then you never get upset or they never say anything?
If you're going through something?
Like, say if we're going through, like I'm going through something
right
right now, and then I was just like, hey, I want to talk to you. I don't need advice right now. I just need to be heard.
Yeah.
So would that also fall on, like, your part?
Yeah, and I have to respect that because and that's
no, but
a
I'm
great.
saying for you to say it. So say you're talking to me. You want to just be heard.
Yeah.
You need to just be heard. So do you feel like you would tell me that first? Like,
yes, because you're setting the boundaries right now.
okay.
But again, when someone's going through something, we're not thinking.
They're not thinking that.
We're not thinking that. But that is a great thing to say. Like, if you know you're going through something and you just want to talk to someone, but you don't want advice from them, yes, set the boundaries. Say, hey, you know what? I want to talk to you, but I don't need no advice. I just really need to just get some things off my chest. I just need you to be present and listen, because now you set the boundaries, and they should respect that. But depending on the situation, like my situation was just that day was just awful for me. So I wasn't even thinking correctly. It would have been great if I would have said that, 100%, yes. But I wasn't thinking that because my mind was too clouded with what was going on.
See, I think that's the most amazing thing about communicating, though, even if it's after the fact, because when you told her, now she's aware of it.
Right.
And then now you're aware of it. So the next time it's just going to become a
100%, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why
a lot of people don't say that, though. A lot of people don't say what they're really feeling or what they needed. And then it just keeps going unknown.
Right.
So I think it's important, too, when people actually say what they need.
Right. And this goes back to what I tell people, why they need to practice, you know, on their well-being and their mental health on a regular.
Yeah.
So when things happen, like now, so if something happened now I would say that. I would say, hey, Brenda, I need to talk to you, but I don't want advice. I just need you to be present and listen to me. Right? I'm aware of it now.
I can see that.
Yeah. But that's because every day I'm constantly doing something. Like I'm reading, I'm doing something to help my mental health. So I'm more aware of it, and I'm learning how to communicate with people better.
I think that's what's really helped me do these. Like, even though I'm nervous right now, and I think I know why I'm nervous, but every time I talk to you and every time we talk, and I gain from it. Like, I learn from it. I learn about how to communicate. I learn to listen. Remember, that was one of my big struggles, was listening before. Or not always chiming in, I guess you would say. But it's so hard because you're literally becoming a new person. You're like shedding and like trying to, but then you don't want to be like a robot either. Be like, okay, did I learn that? What can I do for that? Like, you want it to come natural,
right?
But you know.
But you should always be surrounding yourself with someone that you can get a takeaway. That's just little growths every day. 100%. Growths every day. You should never want to be the smartest person in the room, because you're not growing, right? So anytime, and that's why I tell people all the time to communicate, like have conversations, because if you're having conversations and you're not getting a takeaway from it, then what's the conversation? Like you should be talking to somebody that you feel like I can get a takeaway from, no matter how small it is. Right?
I agree.
Like last night I was out and I was at the Zelda's last night because it was jazz night, and I was talking to a buddy of mine, Glenn, and older guy, and we had a great conversation, and I got a takeaway from it. You should always have a takeaway from any conversation you're having with somebody, because the truth of the matter is we can all learn from each other.
Oh, 100%.
I was talking to another friend of mine who's way younger than me, and I honestly, I love talking to her because she's very smart. So it doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter what position you're in, we can learn something from everybody, because everybody honestly has a gift. And if we really listen to people, we can learn a lot from a lot of people.
Yes, I agree.
But sometimes we put ourselves in these spaces and we judge people, and we like, oh, I'm not gonna learn nothing from them. It's like, oh,
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, we can learn. You can learn from kids.
It's a beautiful. Oh, I think you learn so much more from kids.
Yeah, 100%.
They haven't been tarnished as much as we have yet.
Right.
They're not as close-minded as we are. No, I think there's a reason why they say the heart of a child is pure and beautiful, because they're dreamers, and they can be things, and they can do, like, their imagination runs wild, and they're honest, and whether it's an ugly truth or they're just honest, and it's as you grow, you change.
Right.
Sometimes.
And like I had a couple of classmates on my show last week, and Jen made a good point that our younger generation, they're growing up in a different world than us. So it's like we can learn from them, because they're growing up so different than how we grew up. They have different resources. They're experiencing different things that we never did, even though we experience them now as an adult. But as a child or a kid, like, they're experiencing it's totally different. So we can learn from them. Well,
did you ever hear, I don't know if I've ever told you, but it's kind of like no two children are raised, like, you can have a sibling. No two children are raised by the same parent.
Oh yeah, okay.
So my sister and me and my brother, we were not raised by the same parents.
But wait, what do you mean we wasn't raised by the same parent?
Okay, so when I had my first child, I was 19 years old. I was a different person. It was my first kid. I didn't know. I was learning. I was growing. So I was one way with my daughter.
Okay.
And then when I had my son, 2 years later, I was already a mom. I knew. I made mistakes, so I tried to better them off. I was a little bit more relaxed with my son than I was with my daughter because I was so stressed out on being the perfect mom.
Right.
You know, so a lot of times, like, siblings will say, oh, well, she was different with him than she was with me. Or
right.
But it's because I was a different person at
was.
that time. So and that's why we would always say, my sister had one upbringing.
Okay.
Now, keep in mind, she's 5 years older than me. I'm 8 years older than my brother. So if you were to sit there and interview each one of us, we would have a different childhood.
Right. But that showed growth on your parents' part. That showed growth on your part.
Exactly. But see, that's where the experiences that she had and she shares
right.
with me, and then I have and I share with him, we get to see something different.
Right.
And then my mom gets to see, instead of saying, oh, she was loved more, or oh, she was treated better, or oh, well, no, my mom was just growing
right.
and learning. So it was different.
It was different.
You know, so when I seen it that way, I had a different respect for my parents because now I'm like, they grew with us,
right.
you know, and it wasn't that she, you know, oh, my brother's the favorite one or my brother's spoiled. No, she just had, 8 years to become who she was, to be that mother to my brother.
Right.
Or she was tired and was like, well, do what you want. But I'm just like, once you start to see it that way, it just changes your view. It
does. And that's crazy because I just recently got this book. It's called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. Right. So the book, it reminded me of this other book that I read previously called The Bradshaw Family. And I talk about this on the show a lot and to people when I'm having conversations. And this book is so amazing. I was actually somewhere and this waitress who was talking about reading books. She told me to buy the book, and I did. And I'm on the first chapter right now, and it's so amazing. It's this doctor that breaks down oh my God, I'm fucking up the word.
Sound like me.
Oh my God, I can't even say the word right now.
I have no idea what word you're talking about. You're talking to the worst person.
He bridges the gap between spirituality, science, neurology, and biology, and generic.
Oh man, it's like a spider web.
Yeah, no, it is. But he bridges the gap between all those things, right? But his point to it of it is that you know how I always talk about the we system and the I system. Mm-hmm. So when you're born, you're given your name, you're given your values, your beliefs, you're given everything, right? So this is exactly what he said. And that's why it's called breaking the habit of being yourself. We all have our own path in life, right? Mm-hmm. So as a child, you're given your path. Mm-hmm. So until you figure out your path, let me rephrase that. As a child, you are giving a path.
Okay.
Until you figure out your path.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's why most adults that haven't figured out their path, their life is built on something people told them who they are. Mm-hmm. Like their environment, like people, they're telling you who you are. Because whatever your environment was, that's who raised you. That's who you are. Until you figure out your true self. That's why it's called breaking the habit of being yourself.
I like
Until
that.
people really figure out, hey, this is not my path. This is something someone gave me. My path is way over here.
Yeah.
I need to figure that out.
Yes.
Most people don't figure that out. So that's why they always live in someone else's dream, someone else's path. They walk in everybody else's path but their own. So until you figure out your own path, that's when you become the I from the I system and your true self now. Mm-hmm. But most people, they're not their true selves. And that's why they struggle. Because they haven't found their true identity. Their identity was given to them.
I love that. I do.
This book is amazing.
Can I tell you a secret? It's not really a secret, but I've never read a book in my life.
It's okay.
I've never read a book. I want to.
I just started.
It's on my to-do list.
Well, you did.
It's
You read the Bible. You read the Bible.
Well, yeah, but I've never read it back to front.
Okay. Well,
maybe
one day you would have.
I do want to. But when I get to the bottom, I forgot what happened at the top. And I can't get into it, but
that's why you got to
to
find a
list.
book that you got to find that first book you got to find that really sparked your interest. Okay. That's what I did. I found someone gave me a book, and because they knew what I was getting into, and it was called Buddha in the Mirror, and it was actually my ex-wife gave it to me, and because she knew what I was into and all that, and she was like, "You need to read this book," and I did, and so far I've read that book 3 times. Oh, nice. Front to back 3 times.
I'll let you know when I do it.
But now I read a lot of books. I got so many books on my nightstand now. I can't even catch up. And it's funny because when the waitress told me to get this new book, I saw her last night and I was like, "Hey, how long did it take you to read these books? It's pretty big." And she was like, "A week." I was like, "A week?"
I can't.
It's like, oh shit.
So to bounce off of what you just said, that's the one thing. So what I like to do is when you talk, I put what you say, or when anybody talks, how does that apply towards me or somebody in my life? Perfect example, Nestor, my husband. He does T-shirts, but he didn't start like that. And when he wanted to do that as a teenager, his parents said no, because it wasn't going to make him money. It wasn't going to,
Exactly.
So he listened to that. But
that's what most people do.
Yes, so he listened to that and he did this. Eventually, as he got older, then he started doing it on his own, and he found out that that's what he really wanted to do. And that's why, like, with my daughter, so we all have businesses, but I didn't want to only tell my daughter she has to have a business, even though we all do. She tried it, but then she realized that that's maybe not her thing right now. She'd rather go to school, and that's where I had to step back and not stop her from finding her purpose, finding her path and so it's really important that you do that, because for my whole life, I wanted to be in forensic science, mortuary science. That was my passion, my dream. I swore I wanted to do that, but college was never like on the table. School was never on the table. I got pregnant really young. Like, my path just changed. But now, as my paths changed when I became older, I found out that where it was leading me to, and now I feel like I'm, living my purpose, but it just took me a lot longer to get there. Right,
and you are living your purpose, and that is a great example, because most parents, and I know they do it out of love, right? Most parents do project their fears onto their kids.
Yes.
Because, but just because that route didn't work for you, doesn't mean it's not going to work for your child. Because you never know. I mean, there's so many successful people that proved, one, you don't have to go to school, you don't need education, and they're billionaires right now. And I'm not downplaying education, because I do believe in education. But if it's not your path, it's not your path. Because I went through that with my daughter. My ex-wife and her dad, and that side of the family, they're big educators. And my daughter did not want to go to college. She wanted to go into film, and I've been in film for 35 years. I can tell you now that no one in film is going to ask you for a college degree. You just don't need it. Now, do I believe that? I told her, I said, well, I do agree that you should go take a business course.
Yes.
I agree with
I
that.
agree with that too.
But they was trying to get her to take this film course, which she did. She went to a 2-year, and she got her degree from a 2-year. But they wanted her to do a 4-year, and I was like, that's not necessary. And plus, it's not what she want to do. So why? Come on, 80% of America, people that got degrees, not even using those degrees in that field. So you just wasted all that money on a 4-year college for what? And now you got all these student bills and student loans for what? So I was the one that was on my daughter's side. I was like, you don't have to do it. Go figure out what you want to do. Because that's how I was, and because I know how the path that I took. Now, I wouldn't suggest anyone take the path that I took, but because it was a hard path, but I didn't have a choice, growing up, because I didn't have my mom or dad or, a support system. But she does. So I told her to figure it out. It's going to come to you when it does. And I know my daughter, she's very smart. I mean, she was taking college courses when she was a senior in high school. and she got straight A's. So I knew she would figure it out, and she is. So she's doing what she loves right now, and she's happy. Why make somebody go do something and they're gonna be miserable?
Oh, for sure.
Like most of America.
Yeah, a lot of
Everybody gets up early in the morning.
If you wake up and you're miserable, you are doing something's wrong.
You are not living.
Something is wrong.
And
I'm not saying have perfect days every day.
No, it's not. But
yeah.
I tell people that all the time. Like, and I used to tell people to quit your job, but then somebody actually quit their job, and I was like, don't quit your job like
Good
that.
Good advice, bro.
No, put a plan together. Like. Put a 6 month, year plan together to where you can quit your job.
Yeah.
But if you're at a place where you're not happy, I mean,
I did that one day.
Dude, that's not living. Like you're just existing and you're miserable. That's why so many people are stressed out. That's why in the morning time when you get on that freeway, everybody's rushing. Like they hit the snooze button, a million times. Come on, think about it. If you was really at a job you would not hit that snooze button. You would get up so happy and you'd be rushing to go to work because you love it, not because you have to.
I think that goes for life in general.
Right.
If you could find a way to love your life, then you will love your days.
Right. And like, I love my life.
Because
I tell people all the time, I love my life. Do I have bad days? I don't even have bad days. I have bad moments. But life is actually great. People, how people always be like, fuck my life. I hate my life. But no, life is not doing nothing to you. Life is really not doing anything to you. You're just having a bad moment. Whatever your external circumstances is, it's bad right now, but we all go through that. But life is actually great. We live in a world where we can do and be whatever we want. So don't blame it on life. Life is there for you to do whatever you want. You just choose not to go down that path because maybe you ain't figured it out yet. But honestly, it really is our decisions. I just put up a post earlier. It said 90% of our problems come from our thoughts.
Oh, God. Where do I start?
Right? So It's not life that's doing it to you. It's the decisions you're making. And that's
the choice. The
choices you made. That's the God honest truth. I know I made a lot of bad choices in my life. I don't regret them because it made me who I am. But would I like to modify some of the choices? Yeah. So
that's been... this week has been a very, very emotional week for me because I do believe that, we're not mistakes or there's no mistakes. But I wish, and I do have this desire right now, as much as I've learned this last year, as much as I've grown this last year, because that's what this place has done for me. That's what the people I've surrounded myself with, that's what the people I meet was, I do believe it was ultimately for me to grow, for me to grow into the person that I'm supposed to be. And in that, they're called growing pains for a reason. Right. And that has also brought, and I know I'm going to use this word wrong, but regret. And it's not that I regret life or I regret the choices. I just wish, man, if I could go back. If I can go back and know what I know now, even once you learn something, if only I could go back 1 month, it would have been different. Yeah. And so I find myself there right now a lot because I'm learning so much. And I know now that what I'm trying to put into focus is, but now I know. And now I can move forward with that knowledge. I can share that knowledge and hopefully make better decisions in the future. I know I'm not trying to dwell in my past, but if I could do things differently, God, would I? I would. I wish I knew what I knew now. And I had people, and I do like to surround myself with people now that know, because you want to listen to them, because that's the best advice and wisdom you can get is through someone's experience, I believe, and with yours as well. But I'm also very hard-headed. So when I look back, I was getting the advice, and I was getting all that, but I didn't listen. So you can get all the advice in the world, but if you don't put that advice into action, so then that was another regret that I had. Right. Why didn't I listen? No, right. It's been interesting.
No, but you know what? The the bad decisions that we call bad decisions, we all have them. I mean, just my past relationship, I can see where I made a mistake. I didn't listen. I felt like she told me a couple of times something, and I heard her, but I didn't listen. I didn't listen enough to give her that space, that acknowledgement. You know what I'm saying? Because I was so wrapped up in what I wanted at the moment that I wasn't really listening. Like I don't want to say I wasn't present, because I'm always present when I'm talking to somebody, but I didn't hear her clearly.
You weren't processing.
Yeah, I wasn't processing it clearly until the breakup happened, and then I was able to process that. Because whenever something happens, like, I don't blame people. I always look at, okay, where did I make a mistake? Like I try to look at, like, okay, what did I do wrong? Like,
where's my
because it takes two. It's not just one person's thing, right? Like we got to accept an accountability for our part and our actions, no matter what. We got to take accountability and responsibility for what we did. So when I sat down and I said, okay, what was my accountability? Where did I mess up? And I thought about it really hard, and I was like, you know what? I didn't listen to her. I minimized what she said. That's what I did. I'm gonna be honest with you. She had told me something, and I remember her telling me a couple of times, and I really minimized it. And it wasn't something that I did intentionally, but because she told me what she was going through, I minimized it because I was trying to help her in a different way, like my way. And that's where we have to learn that what worked for me might not work for her. So I had to say, damn, you know what? She told me that. But I tried to help her my way, not knowing that I should have listened better and let her help herself in her way. That makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I should have just been there to support without trying to help.
Well, it's like what you started in the conversation. You just needed someone to hear you.
Right.
You didn't need nobody to give you advice.
Exactly.
You didn't need any of that right now. You just needed to be heard.
Right.
And now you're saying the same exact thing of what you possibly did.
Right.
Those were never your intentions.
It wasn't my intention.
Which is most likely the person you were talking to, that wasn't their intentions.
Right.
But now you know. So now you know what both feel like.
Right. Exactly.
You know, and that's growth right there.
100%.
Because now you can put yourself in both positions.
100%. So, yeah, I mean, we can all look at, like, okay, damn, I wish I could go back and, like, fix it, right? But would I have learned if I didn't go through that? I mean, sometimes, you know, when
I know I wouldn't.
Right, me neither. Sometimes, I'm like you, I'm hard-headed too. Sometimes you need to hit a brick across my head for me to get something.
Yes.
Because sometimes, I mean, we all
and
like
I don't
that.
like that about me. I wish I would listen. Like, that's what I'm trying to change now on myself.
But we're growing, though.
Yes.
And I think, you know, and I constantly ask myself, like, I mean, you know, over the last couple of months, I've been going through so many, you know, challenges. And I finally come to the conclusion, like, I think you and I are the same. Like, we hold these platforms because of what we're doing. Like you with Pretty Little Poppy. You have a bunch of people that look up to you and depend on you. And I'm the same. Like, I have listeners. I've been doing this podcast over 1.5 years now. I have people that really do listen. And so I was having this conversation with someone, and they was like, when you have like a platform like that, or people listening to you and they depend on you, God is going to put more on you because he wants you to learn, because now we pass that on to the people that are listening to us. You know, because we have to learn.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
So even though it's like, okay, but you don't have to put that much on me. Like, come on.
So that's been my week. That's why I knew when I came in here. That's the beautiful thing. I know that when I'm with you, I know it's for a reason. We've made that very clear with each other. Because we do talk a lot.
And you know, I learned from you too.
Do you?
100%.
See, iron sharpens iron. I always say that.
100%. Brenda, sometimes I go over to Pretty Little Poppy, most times when I leave here on Friday after my show, you know, I walk down to Pretty Little Poppy, and I just sometimes just need that energy. And I know when I walk to your shop, like I get that energy. I know I'm gonna see somebody, whether it's you, whether it's Blinky, or somebody I know, I'm gonna get that energy. And sometimes that's all I need.
I agree, and that's what is crazy. And I think that's what's been so hard in what you're talking about as far as the platform. How do you get that energy when you're falling and you don't see hope? And then it is surrounding, you know, and I think that's why I love where I'm at and where I got placed, because you surround yourself with people that will help you see that. Right. So it's not that it's expected or you know, that you're going to have all of your stuff together. The only way that I can talk to anybody, give any advice, be there, try whatever, is because I've been there a lot of times. Right. And it brings up the pain again, and it brings up, and then you get past that, and then you grow, but it's constantly evolving. Right. Constantly. And I do believe that when you're in your purpose and you're living your purpose, the struggle is real, because you have conformed to so much of what you thought you were, and you're realizing, or I can only speak for myself, so if I say you, I mean me, that you're destined for so much more and so much greater. And a lot of things that you have to shed off of yourself are sometimes the things that you love, the things that you like, and they're not part of the future. So you have to learn to shed that off. And I think that, you know, that's the heart. Like this week, number one word that I can put into my head is sacrifice. Yeah. Are you willing to sacrifice for something that you're just hoping for? And what if you don't see it? You know, and what if you don't know what the future is? And what if can you sit there and say, I am going to sacrifice this, everything I love, everything I think, because I have hope for that. Right. That is where I found myself this week. And I couldn't answer that 100%, because I asked myself, okay, what do I have to give up? And then when I kind of found out like what I think I had to give up, I found myself saying, but I like that. But I don't know if I want to let that go, you know? And it's finding your Goliath, defeating your Goliath, and then realizing that there's something else after that that's in your way too. Right. And then there's something else, and then something else. And then it's like every time you find yourself, you know, in that battle, I have hope I'm going to get out of it. I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to grow from it. But no matter what, you still have to go through it. Right. You know, and that's been very interesting, because it's hard to come to the realization that you need to change something about yourself in order to be better. Right. And I don't know, it's been weird. It's been hard.
No, but that's part of the growth process. That's part of the process, period. I mean, I go to Kobe all the time, because I just remember him doing this interview, and it stuck with me, and I knew this before he even said it, but it was a confirmation when he talked about this on an interview. He said when he had to make a decision, do I want friends or do I want to be the greatest? Period. And I remember after he retired, he did another interview, and he said, yes, I had to sacrifice friendships, family functions, especially with his girls. He had to miss recitals, you know, school events, because he had a goal. He wanted to be the greatest, and he knew he had to sacrifice a lot of those things, even though we don't want to, but we have to. And I tell people all the time, people that be trying to do this whole, and this only applies to someone that's trying to run a business. If you have a regular 9-to-5 job, it's possible. But that whole work-life balance thing,
Oh, crap.
is bullshit. Let me tell you that right now.
That's hard.
There's no way you can find work-life balance running a business and family. Like, you gotta sacrifice. That's the name of the game. And I know you know. And it's funny how people be like, you know, oh no, I'm gonna find it. Like, and it's like, okay, but something is going to get, like, you're gonna lose something, whether you want to or not. And if you're trying to build a business, like, I feel like your family, it's okay to sacrifice, you know, some of the family things, because I feel like they know that what you're doing is going to be good for them. Your business don't know that.
Ooh, I might cut in on that.
What
You just said.
Okay, but your business don't know that, right?
Yes.
Your family should be more understanding. Your business doesn't have feelings. It doesn't know. And if you try to give more to your family and your business suffers, your business will fail.
Yes and no and no.
Okay, what?
Okay. So, it's just me.
And everybody's situation is different.
Everybody's situation is different. But this is what I've learned. And what you're saying makes sense. I do agree. But I also do believe that if it's too much tilted, it's like, so here's my thing. This is what I would tell my husband. You're working to provide for your family.
Right.
The family that you're not spending time with. Right. So it's like, why are you doing all this work when you can't even enjoy it?
Oh,
and
no.
So that's too where balance is going to come into play. So it's not going to be 50-50.
No.
That's, I think, is going to be the greatest challenge of all.
No, and you're right with that.
But you can't just completely devote yourself, because then you're going to miss out on life.
No, and you're right with that. And maybe I should be clear about that. I mean, you have to. I mean, yes, you're going to work hard. You're going to struggle. You're going to grind, and you're going to sacrifice a lot of family time and all that. But you do have to fit enjoying your family, enjoying life. Yes. You have to fit that in somewhere. So it can't just be all work, no play. What they say, like that's because everything's going to fail at that point. So I'm just saying you got to sacrifice. You will sacrifice some things.
And there's going to be a period where you feel like you're going to sacrifice even more. Right. Or maybe a longer period, because so much needs to take place in that period that there's only 24 hours in a day.
Right. So, I mean, a business is a business. I mean, you're going to have great years. Some years you're going to, have a couple of months during that year that, it is like, hey, babe, you know what? For the next 2 months, I got to grind because I got to get the business back up. But make sure, you coming back home and you're spending time with them.
And I think that can apply too to somebody working the 9 to 5, because if you want to advance and you want to grow in that company, then sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit more than that person next to you. Yeah. And I do believe that sacrifice can come in a lot of different forms.
Oh, it does.
So it's sacrificing internally, your own battle.
And it's all, again, every situation is different. It depends on what you're trying to do, what corporate ladder you're trying to climb. Like, all that matters. It really depends on what you're trying to do. Like, I think you have to look at your goals when you either trying to start a business or if you're trying to climb a corporate ladder. And this is where conversation with your family.
Yes.
Like, you can't just go do it, right? Like, you have to sit with your family and you guys have to be in agreement. Like, hey, this is my plan. This is what I want to do and accomplish.
Yes.
And if you guys are married or just in a good relationship, I mean, you have to support that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
You have to be understanding and be on the same page.
Yes. I do agree with that, because like I said, if I would have known then, unfortunately, you have to hit me over the head with the book. Like, now I have a different appreciation for my husband.
Right.
Now I understand why my husband did what he did. Now I understand why he would come home and is coming home exhausted, angry, tired, doesn't want to do this, doesn't want to do that. Now I get it, because I'm in that situation. Right. And I was literally placed, and I see the financial burden. I see the worry and struggle. I see, not to his extent. Right. So if I'm as stressed out as I am, if I'm struggling as much as I am, it gave me a different type of gratitude towards my husband. This has just happened, you guys, like 48 hours ago. it gave me such a different view, and that's where my regret has been falling in, because I'm like, damn, why did I not see this? I could have, if I would have known, like, why didn't I help him, 10 years ago? Right. Why didn't I help him? Like, I should be the one that helped him. I should have had his back. Like, because now I know what it is to go through that struggle, and I think that's why it's so important to really reflect and self-reflect and put yourself in different positions and scenarios and really see, what did I learn from this? Because it sucks, and you don't want to live with regret. But if there would be a young couple right now, like I was just talking to one of my vendors, they're starting off their business, and husband and wife, I can tell you so much just because I know what can go wrong. I know what can happen, and I know what hurt can come of working with your spouse. But I also know what beauty can come from it. It's a power couple. I know now so much more than I did back then. And I do feel bad. I feel bad because I should have been there as a wife. I should have been there as a partner. I should have been there, and I wasn't. And I feel like now it's my turn. Like, I need to do it now. I need to up my game, and I need to, give him rest, and that's crazy because you're talking 20 years.
But, that goes with Michelle Obama when she was talking about, I forgot who she was interviewing with. She said a marriage or any relationship is never 50-50. It's some days you might be 20, and some days he'll say, you know what, I got you, babe. I got the 80. Or now it sounds like it's reversed now. Like he only has 20, and now you're picking up the 80. You know what I'm saying? It's whatever you guys are coming up with, but that's supporting each other.
I just know he sacrificed a lot, and I never saw it.
Right.
I was angry about it.
But now you're picking up the slack now, and you're like, okay, now it's your time to rest.
So here's the crazy thing is, how do I say this? I realized, I think I just realized the challenge. And I realized the hard part of it. And I don't have to carry a family. I don't have to, I was very comfortable. If I wanted to stop working, I would stop working. If I wanted to do this, I would do this. If I, because he carried us,
right.
But he carried us completely. I didn't do my part. I don't think I did. But, and when I look back, I was there for my kids. I didn't take my kids to I was with so I know I did mine, but I just wish I knew what I know now. I wish that I would have known then. I think I would have saved us a lot. Because we've gone through so much heartache and hardship.
Right. And
it's been business related, family related, like in that sense of knowing what it is to run a business. And that's why I tell people, give them grace, because it's not easy running a business. And I know that now. But now I know the heartache of running a business. And what do you do when you see no hope, and you have to pay that rent, and you have to fill those spots, and you have to, and $1,600 doesn't come in, and like, okay, I have to do this, so now I have to hustle to do this. And it's like, I'm hustling now because I'm desperate, which opened my eyes, because he hustles the way he hustles because he's desperate, because he needs to provide a roof. He needs to provide all these things for me, for my kids. He wants us to have a beautiful life like he didn't have. Like, he did have a beautiful life, but you know what I mean. Kids nowadays, the things they ask for are crazy. But, so now I understand that. And that's been challenging for me because it is hard. And that's why I tell people. And I can't give up. If I give up, now, like you said, people depend on you. People.
Well, you got to think about it. Like, your vendors are your family, and you have to keep that roof and those doors open.
Now it's my turn.
Yeah.
So it's like, I get it now. And it's freaking hard.
It is.
It's hard. And especially when he would come home, you know, you want a happy husband and you want this. Well, when they come home, Pretty Little Poppy's their home, they want a happy wife, a happy mom, a happy, you know, and that's me. So it's like, I can't be what I would get mad about there, you know. So it's just been very, very interesting when you see it. Like, okay, now it's my turn to do it. And you just have a different type of empathy for people.
Right.
For sure.
But you're growing, though.
I am.
I've seen the growth, and
I
I think that's why I like, you know, being around you and at Pretty Little Poppy, because it's somewhere where you can call home, and somewhere where you feel safe, somewhere where you can feel, you know, you can grow, you can get something out of it. Like every time you walk in, I feel like anybody walking through those doors, when they leave, they're gonna get something out of it
if they allow themselves to.
Yeah,
because when we sit there and it just happened yesterday, and it was amazing. It was so amazing. It was an answered prayer. It was. I'm still sitting here like, what the hell happened yesterday? You know, it was perfect. It was a perfect day. But it was a day of growth.
right.
It was like, Brenda, you sacrificed so much. Let me give you a good day. Let me give you a day and remind you why you're doing what you're doing, why you're fighting to keep a roof over this, you know, to keep the roof up and going well. So I got a little spoiled yesterday by God, not going to lie.
It's okay.
It was awesome.
That's
We had
good.
about eight people, and it was just like pow, pow, pow. And I even got messages today like, my life changed a little bit yesterday, and that's pretty cool.
Mine did too yesterday. So the other day, I went and spoke at this youth group. It's called Youth Build out here.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah, I went and spoke at with the kids over there, and I think that was like Tuesday I did that, and then yesterday, the director and the guy that runs it, the pastor over there who runs it, took me out to lunch, and they want me to come work with them and do more and help them out, you know, in the media area, and so that's in the works right now. I'm excited about it because, you know, I love working with kids, and I'm actually speaking at another group in a couple of weeks, but that hasn't been confirmed yet. But they asked me. I ran into somebody yesterday, and they were like, "Oh, can you come speak at our group?" And I was like, "Yeah, of course." But I feel like everybody needs that. I feel like you should start doing that too, over at your place. Like maybe once a month, have a speaker come in and talk to the vendors. Because even though, like I was saying earlier, we know stuff, but we just need to have those conversations. You know, maybe somebody's going through something that day or whatever, and they just need to hear a speaker or, you know, somebody say something that might help them. You know, it keeps everybody on the same page. It keeps everybody motivated, inspired. You know, that's why I was talking to this lady yesterday, and she's like, "Hey, can you come speak at one of my meetings because my people are not being a little lazy, and they need some inspiration." And I was like, "Yeah, of course," because we was having a conversation, and I was like, "Yeah, come speak." But sometimes we need that, you know.
I just got an idea.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. See, just by talking, we have great ideas. See what I mean? But we all go.
You're a part of it.
Oh, I appreciate that. But we all go through things, right? So how do we struggle better?
That's a good question.
How do we struggle better? This is something I'm learning in my class right now. Because we all going to make mistakes, right? We all going to bump up against our limitations and fall short of our ideas. It's just our human condition. So, like I was telling you,
So I'm normal.
You said you're
So
normal.
I'm normal.
You're not normal, actually, but that's not a bad thing. Like I was telling you before the show, I was listening to Liz Hernandez over at the Wave, and she asked a question that she said, "Do you have any standards that people might think that are what I called it? High maintenance. Yeah. So do you have any standards that people might think that are high maintenance?" And she said she does have a standard. She said anytime she dates somebody, like they have to be working on their well-being and their mental health. Like whether it's reading a book, even going to the gym, like whatever it is, going to therapy, you know, taking a class on, you know, mental health, something, you have to be doing something. And I kind of took that. And so when I was speaking to the youth the other day, I hit them with one of my favorite Buddha quotes. It says, when you speak, you only speak of what you already know. But if you listen, you might learn something. So it goes back to the book, right, about people breaking the habit of being themselves. So, and this is what I love about what Liz was talking about, you know, having standards. Like you have to be doing something, right? Because if you're growing and your partner not, then there's going to be this huge gap, right? And so I actually like that. And I think I'm going to look for that in my next partner. Like, you got to be doing, I think that's going to be one of my standards. Like, you got to be doing something. Can you please
fill out this application and submit your resume?
Yeah, you got to be doing something. But I mean, it's true. It's like I said, what I told the kids is that, so with that quote, when you speak, you're only speaking of what you already know, right? Because our prefrontal cortex, right, is all about our memory, our experiences, and our habit loops. So if you're not doing anything for your mental health, if you're not doing anything to grow, guess what you're doing? Your life is just going in one big old circle. You're not moving at all. It's a cycle, right? So how do you break that cycle? You have to be doing something to grow. If not, you're just going in a circle, in that cycle. So that's why I love when she brought that up, and it made sense about, you know, my quote. It kind of went hand in hand, because when people talk a lot.
Sorry, I laughed.
Why are you laughing at me?
I'm laughing because we're always on the same, wavelength. Like right now, I'm like, oh my God, I just said that. But like, I don't want to say that, but I mean, I just said that.
But that's great though.
Like, dang, like I just said that.
But isn't that like a confirmation? Like,
yes.
Dang, okay, so I am thinking correctly.
So I am like, okay, so because I just shared that information.
Right.
So, yes. Okay, sorry. I got excited right now.
No, but that's great though.
But I got excited.
I do the same thing. So that's why I got excited when Liz did that on the show the other day, because I was like, dang, I was just telling the kids that.
Yes.
Like it was like a confirmation for me. I was like, okay, cool. I'm actually thinking correctly.
Yes.
When someone else says it, it's like, okay, so my thoughts aren't fucked up.
Right. Hey, I just told my husband that yesterday. Woohoo, kudo points for me.
Right.
No, but yes,
so
yes.
yeah, I mean, so if you're not growing, your life is just really, you're just repeating all your experiences, all things you already know. You're just going in a circle. It's like the hamster on the hamster wheel. It's like you ain't going nowhere.
And you already know the outcome. You know what it's going to bring. But it's like we still choose. But it's like if you want to get out of that hamster wheel, right, you got to do something different. You got to do something different. Exactly. You got to grow. You have to be working on your mental health. And that's why I started reading 3 years ago. And oh my God, it's made such a difference in my life. Reading. Yeah, I mean, I'm constantly working on and that's why I love taking this CAP class, because I'm constantly learning, I'm constantly growing. Every day I'm doing something that I'm working on my mental health. And it doesn't have to be like an all day thing. Like I literally do something, even if it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but I'm doing something. And that's something that I want to be clear about. It's like I got a friend that's going through something right now, right? He's going through a breakup, and obviously I just went through one, so I kind of can relate to him. I told him, I said, okay, it's kind of like psychology and positive psychology, right? Psychology focuses on what the problem is. So I was like, okay, because every day for the last week, all I heard from him is what the problem was. So I was like, okay, dude, we know what the problem is. Like, so there's no need for you to tell me this every day. We know what the problem is. That's psychology. We already figured that part out. Now let's focus on positive psychology. Let's talk about the solution, what you need to do now, because we already know the problem. So let's focus on the positive psychology part of it. Like what went well today in your life. So let's start there. And it doesn't matter how small it is, because those small little tiny habits is what you're going to replace your prefrontal cortex, your habit loops in your head with good positive stuff. And you build on that. So let's start off with, you woke up today. You had a nice bed to sleep in. You was able to take a shower. You was able to put on clean clothes. Most people can't do all that stuff. So let's
like having gratitude for the small things, right? So you just look at your day. So now even like me, at the end of every day, sometimes I write it in my journal, but sometimes I just kind of think to myself like, okay, what went well today? And I build on that instead of building on the negative. So even if it's small, even for 5 minutes, do something that's going to help you. Because those small things, those small, tiny habits are what's going to build your mental health. And it's going to help you get through the next challenge you're going to have. Because we're all going to have challenges. We're all going to have struggles. Yeah. So it's about doing the small things. I think most people, even like with meditation, I get it a lot. Oh, I can't sit still for an hour. Nobody told you to sit still for an hour. Sit there for 5 minutes.
Well, I mean, I could apply the same thing that I learned in AA. For the longest, when I would sit there, I had a desire to not drink, but I thought like too far in the future.
Right.
And it stressed me out. So I was like, well, I'm not going to stop right now because Christmas is coming, or, oh, I have a birthday next weekend. So I'm already thinking so far in advance that it's stopping me from pursuing anything now.
Right.
Versus now, I'm solely focused on today.
Right.
All I need to focus on is get through one day.
Right.
And when I can get through one day, tomorrow, I'll worry about tomorrow.
Right.
And I'm going to go. So once I started doing that with alcohol, then now I do that with my business. So right now, I need to focus just on today. What do I need to do today to get through the day?
Right.
Set my goal and just focus on today. I can't stress about what's going to happen next week. I can't worry about next month. I can't worry because then I'm going to do that for a month.
Exactly.
Versus let me just get through today peacefully.
Right. And those are the steps to get through struggle, right? Like, for instance, focusing on today, you're tuning in, right? You're tuning into the moment. Like, okay, what's your body trying to tell you, in the moment of the struggle, right? Then,
So give me an example. Like
when you're stressed out, when you got anxiety, that's your body telling you something's not right.
Oh, okay.
So tune into it. What is wrong?
Like, okay.
Like focus on the moment,
Gotcha.
whether it's big, small. Focus on the moment. Like you just said it. Like I'm not worried about next for Christmas 3 months from now. Like I'm worried today. Like what is your body telling you today?
Today.
Focus on the moment. Then you think about, you want to test it. You want to think about who's the wisest, kindest person that will give you great advice. What would they say to you in that moment? Like these are the steps that you have to take. And then the next step is to try tiny little actions. Like you just said, I'm going to focus on today. My tiny little action is, okay, I'm not going to drink for the next 12 hours, next 24 hours. And then tomorrow I'm going to do another 24 hours. It's the tiny little actions now. Now build on that.
Now we're 78 days.
Exactly. Opposed to you saying, okay, for 78 days, I'm not going to drink. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's like
too big.
Right, it's too big.
I was seeing too big. Like, and I think that's what happens a lot of times. That's what I've seen with businesses.
Yeah.
The vision is too big. And it's too much. So then when you don't see it happening, you give up. Because you don't see that being possible.
Right.
Versus what do I have to do? So like I say, start with the box. Then from the box, expand. Then from there, expand. Then from there, grow. Right. Enlarge over time. Make adjustments over time. Don't worry about the big picture right now.
Now, right, and I want to be clear about this because I say that a lot too. You should have big visions.
Oh yeah, 100%.
But when it comes to actionable steps, don't have big ass steps.
Yes.
Like you know how they say, it takes 21 days to form a habit.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of false. Because it really doesn't take 21 days. What it is they just broke it down to bite-sized steps. So what they're saying is when it's 21 days to form a habit is, okay, for the next 21 days, I'm going to do this, and it's going to become a habit. But what's the most important day of that 21 day?
I mean, I would think the 22nd, like the
Right.
next day.
Exactly.
Oh, was I right?
Yeah.
Oh,
So
woo!
you start over.
Sorry.
Right, but because you start over.
Yes.
So you do the 21 days. Okay, great.
Yes.
Now the most important day is do it again.
Yes.
Do it again.
Yes.
Do it again. Now you're forming a habit.
Yes.
You're not going to form a habit on those first 21 days.
Mm-hmm.
It's doing it again. Now do it again. Do it again. Do it again. 21 days. 21. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the same thing.
Because if you say,
Yes,
if
yes.
you tell someone, dang, you know what, if you want to form this certain habit or whatever it is, it's going to take about 3 years. That's way too big for someone. That's not a bite size. So break it down.
It's like AA.
Right. Even if you have to
30
break it
days.
down to 7 days. Okay, for this 7 days, I'm going to do this. Now do it again for another 7 days. Now do it again.
So yeah, sobriety, 24 hours. Then from 24 hours, now we're going to celebrate 30.
Right.
You made it through 30, but we're not going to focus on 30. We're going to just focus on one, get to 30. Now that we're at 30, we're going to focus on one, focus on every day. Our goal is 60.
Right.
That's just the goal. And then you're going to keep going until
Well, I
don't
don't
know.
I don't like to call it goal. I want to say milestones.
it's a milestone for me. I mean, like you say,
'Cause I feel like goals are is an end point.
it wasn't an endpoint, but then I set another goal.
Okay.
So it was like, because I couldn't go so far out. I was just
Right.
like, it was like a, kind of like in a relay. You have checkpoints.
Yeah.
So it was just like, my goal is to make it to that checkpoint.
Right,
And my
okay.
goal is to make it to that one. And then from there, now, just because I made it to there, I'm not going to stop my goals.
Right.
You know, I'm going to keep going, hopefully. Now, if I don't, well, then you just start over again. Like,
Right.
but yes, I agree. And this could apply towards anything. Look at right now, we just put it in 3 different versions.
No, because
You know, you
it's true, and that's why I said, whatever your goals are, your vision, have a huge good vision, have a big dream. They say your dream should scare you, yes, but when it comes to actually putting an action plan behind it, take small steps. Because and it's like with podcasting, right? Like people, I just had a few people this week come up to me and they're like, "Hey, you still doing your podcast?" It's like, yes, because I'm committed to it. I'm over a year and a half now. And with podcasting, it's most people stop on their 4th to 8th episode, somewhere around there. I'm close to 100 episodes already. Because I know it takes time to build any business. It takes 3 to 5 years to build any business. But people look at the big picture, and when you're doing a business, you have to measure it, right? Most people, they measure because their measuring stick is way too big, and they're like, wow, I didn't get over here. And it scares them, so they want to quit because the numbers aren't right. Whatever those numbers are. They didn't see the numbers. They didn't hit whatever. It's like, well, break it down to smaller bite sizes. And it's like with mental health. If whatever you're doing, you are better off than where you started, then you're growing. So measure your life. Are you better off today than you were 6 months ago?
Oh, God, yeah.
Exactly. Okay. Are you better off today than you was last week?
Yeah.
Right. So if you can measure that and say, yes, even if it's a small, if you move the needle a little bit, just a little bit, then you're growing. You're doing something right. Now keep going. You don't always have to see this big change.
Now, if you would have asked me that 4 days ago, I would have said I wasn't better off than I was like a week before that.
It's okay. 'Cause
But
you had a step back.
I just want people to know that it's okay
Yeah.
if you're not, because if you continue, eventually you will be.
Right.
And then, yeah, because we need those reminders when we're not okay. We're not better than we were. Because
Okay.
where I was at 6 months ago, I was definitely not better than I was 6 months before that.
Okay.
So I did a dip. But now I can say where I'm at right now, I'm better than I was a year ago.
Okay. Right. So
So
okay.
it's kind of weird. Like you just have to.
it is weird, but but let's be clear though. Let's look at it from, like I said in the beginning, when you first started.
Yes.
You're way better You're not in the
Yes.
same space as where you first started.
Yes.
You're much further along.
Yes.
Right. So,
But I also want to tell people they're in those moments. Right now I can sit there and say that.
yeah.
But maybe 6 months ago, I wouldn't have been able to say that. Now, if
Right.
I would have given up, or if I would have changed my path because I felt like I wasn't going to get out of it, or I wasn't going to fix it, or I wasn't going to change it, then I wouldn't be where I'm at right now.
Right.
And I think that we have to stop that part when things are bad, to just stop right there.
Right.
And you know what I mean? 'Cause
Yeah.
that
You
was
have
me.
to keep going. You're going to have bad days. You're going to have struggles. And that's why I love the well-being lab and, what they're teaching is because, taking care of your well-being is part of the definition is struggling well. Mm-hmm. So even though I was struggling the last 2 months, I was struggling well because I knew the outcome that what was going to happen. I knew I was going to get through it. I just had to go through the process. And you have to go through, and it's something I was teaching the kids, I'm not going to say teaching, but because I was speaking to them. What I was telling them is that we all have emotions, right? So you have to look at emotions, and they're never going nowhere. All your emotions are going to stay in you forever. So you have to look at it like, what's your story? You control your story. You're going to go through anger. You're going to go through sadness, depression, happiness, gratefulness. You're going to go through all these different emotions. It's up to you how much time. So you got to look at them as little characters.
I love that,
anger is a
really.
character. Depression is a character. How much time are you going to give anger? Because he ain't going nowhere. And anger actually is a healthy emotion. I want people to know that. It's when you add aggression to it, it's unhealthy. But it's actually a healthy emotion. All your emotions are healthy. That's why they're always going to be in you. They're going to show up in your life. But it's up to you on how much time you're going to give this character in your life. You dictate that.
Or how much power you're going to give
How
them.
much power, exactly. So even when we're going through things on those bad days, we're going to go through all the emotions. I just went through every emotions over the last 2 months. I told you this past Friday, I went through an emotion because something happened. And I went home and I went through every emotion. I was hurt. I was depressed. I was sad. I was angry. But I only let anger have like 30 seconds.
A little bit.
Then I'll be like, no, I don't want to be that person again. 20 years ago, I would have let them have like the whole damn night. But now it's like, you got 30 seconds. Like,
Because
get it out
you
the
know
way.
their roles.
Right. So, and I know the consequences to the rules, right? That's something we always got to think about as well. So I gave anger 30 seconds, but yeah, I went through every emotion that night. I went through happiness too because of what happened. So you just have to go through it. You're going to get through it. But if you're feeling sad one day, things ain't working out, embrace it. Acknowledge it. Say, okay, cool. Today didn't work out too well. But guess what? Tomorrow is going to be better than today. And that's always been my goal, is to always be better today than I was yesterday. So no matter what you're going through, know it's going to get better. You're going to get through it. I mean, if you look at your whole life, you've been through a lot before you got through it, right? So why wouldn't you get through this?
And I think that that's why it's so important to surround yourself with people that can see it that way. Because like you even said, at that moment, when you said earlier, at that moment, I didn't want to see it.
Right.
I didn't understand it. I couldn't process that. So you can't process, it's gonna be okay, because you're so far in another area that you can't process that.
Right.
So you see no hope. You see nothing. But when you know that you're surrounded with people, and that's why people do have to speak up and try to help, which is probably what your friend was doing at that point, because you don't see it. Right. And God forbid, we don't know where your mindset's at that time. Right. We don't know where you're at. We're just seeing that you're not okay. And you know, we say, speak up. We say, you know, if you see somebody down, tell them something, you know, tell them, speak. So it's like that catch-22. We're telling them to speak, but then you want to speak at the right time and say the right thing and, you know, do this. But, you know, so it's growth even in that, because you do want to be there for them.
No, you do.
But you have to, like you said, feel the vibe and, you know.
Yeah, and that's where the active listening
Yeah.
comes in. Like when you see somebody down and depressed, like, yeah, go speak to them, but listen to what they're saying.
Yeah, yes.
And that's going to dictate how you respond.
Yeah, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I just had that Thursday. I wanted to help somebody, but as the conversation was going, I knew that right now that's not what that person needed.
Right.
And then I don't know what we just laughed, but I get it. Yeah, I get it. I think that's really important, is putting yourself in an actual event.
Right.
Did you apply it towards that event? Did you, like, what did you do in that event? How was the outcome? What could you do different? What did you learn? Like, self-reflect. I think it's so important. You know, at the end of the day, recap. Where did I F up at?
Every time I go through something, I always recap. And I try to find, again, because we got to be accountable for our actions, right? I think I told this story to the kids. I asked them, I said, if you was flying to the Bay Area tonight, right, and the plane crashed, but you lived. It's like the movie Sully, crashed into the water. Everybody lived. No one died, but the plane went down.
Yes.
Whose fault is it that you was involved in a plane crash?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you.
Oh. I mean, depends on what happened. I don't know.
Listen to the question.
Okay,
Listen
okay.
to the question.
Okay,
This is
hold
where active listening comes into play.
Yeah. Okay. Focus.
Plane goes down. Whose fault is it that you was involved in the plane crash?
Well, you chose to go on the plane. No, I don't know. This is, oh my God, hold on. Okay. Is this like an easy answer and I'm like overthinking it right now?
You are.
Oh God. It's the plane's fault. I don't know.
No.
Who?
You actually said it right the first time.
Did I?
Yeah.
You?
Me.
No. Well, no, I said you. Like the person.
Yeah.
Because the person chose to go on the plane.
Exactly.
Oh.
It's the
That
person.
was like that thing. I'm sorry, did you say that
so
thing?
it's
with
your
you?
fault.
Yeah,
Because
okay.
you chose to
You
get on a
chose.
plane. You could have drove to the Bay Area. You could have caught a bus. You could have caught a train. You chose to get on a plane. I didn't ask whose fault was it that the plane crashed. I said whose fault was it that you was involved in a plane crash. It was your fault because you chose to get on that plane. That's what I'm saying. Every day we have choices, but we have to be mindful of the decisions and the consequences that come with those choices. Like every day we walk outside our door, we can go left, we can go right. We chose to go down the street. Now we got into an accident. We could have went around the block. Like it's our choices. So that's why I always say we have to take accountability for our decisions. It's not always someone else's fault.
Yes.
Even though someone may have ran a red light or whatever, but we have to take responsibility for our actions and our decisions because we chose to go down that street. Right? So don't be quick to point fingers at people. And I think when you look at it from that perspective, if you do get involved in an accident or some situation, then it's easier to accept it because it's like, you know what, my bad. I chose that. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time, like when someone's arguing with me or something, I'm like, you know what? I'm sorry, my bad. I do. I'll be like, my bad. Because I sat there and I entertained what that fool was saying. And if you don't do that, and I call somebody a fool, I don't know why. But you know, so like if you sit there and you argue with somebody, right? Like, for instance, if you were in the store and somebody had a bad day and they looked at you funny or they said something to you and then you respond and now y'all in an argument, guess whose fault that is? That's yours because
You're responding.
You're responding because
Yes.
what they're going through has nothing to do with you. You entertained that. And that's what I'm saying. Sometimes we get caught up in that, right? So that's why sometimes I catch myself. I'll be like, you know what? My bad. That was my fault. I don't know why I entertained your dumb ass. Like, then I'll walk away.
Yeah.
It's true. Like, we got to accept our accountability.
Well, that's the thing. Like the only thing that you truly, truly, truly have control over is you.
Exactly.
It's you. It's your emotion. It's your response. It's what you receive.
Right.
It's solely you.
It is.
We wonder why this world is so ugly. Are we a part of the problem or are we a part of the solution?
A part of the problem.
You know, so be a part of the solution.
Right.
You know, but what I'm saying is self-evaluate first. If I'm going to sit there and complain about you, I'm going to say, oh my God, he's such a da-da-da-da-da-da. But it's like, am I doing what I'm angry at you for doing? Mm-hmm. So if I'm doing that right now and I'm angry at you because you're always angry, well, guess what? I'm the same as you.
Right.
So it's like, then I'm a hypocrite in a sense.
Right. Exactly.
You know, versus me being the bigger person.
Exactly.
Yeah, it always depends on the scenario, but yeah, I could see that.
No, but yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I just try to get people, whenever anything happens, just look at it from a different perspective and take accountability for what you did to put yourself in that situation. And it's don't just react. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what? Okay, it was my decision to be here today. It was my decision to do whatever. Mm-hmm. You got to take responsibility for your part.
Yeah, I was like, I know I effed this one up.
Yeah.
Like that was my mistake.
Right. Yeah.
And there's nothing, whether you like to admit it. I mean, you know now.
Right, exactly.
You know now.
That's something I was telling the kids, and I think they heard me on that one.
That's, yeah.
Just be mindful of the decisions you make, no matter what it is. You know, like there's always consequences. You know, you just got to be mindful when you're making decisions, and accept it. Like if you did something, accept it. Like, all right, cool, I fucked up.
Take that accountability.
Yeah,
accountability is huge.
Yeah, 100%.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So we out of time, but what's going on with Pretty Little Poppy? How are you?
I'm like, I don't even know what time is it. I'm just kidding.
How are things going with the back end? And
so it's going. It's crazy right now. It's busy. Holidays are going to be approaching.
You guys get ready for a holiday.
Yeah, we're getting ready for holidays. We're getting new vendors. The word's really getting out there. You know, and I say the same thing to them. You know, yeah, you can do month to month, but put a goal, 3 months, and then, you know, learn every month. Most likely you're going to sit there and learn your display. The second month, you're going to sit there and learn the response. And then the third month, you're going to sit there and learn, okay, now did this and this work? Okay, now let me switch things around.
That's something we just talked about, right? Mm-hmm. So I get people saying, okay, I want to go month to month. But guess what? That's not enough time for you to measure success.
And that's
like, at least say, okay, I'm going to give this 6 months to a year, and then measure it, reevaluate it every month. Yes. But don't say, well, I just want to go to month one. I want to see how we're going to go for 30 days, because you're not going to be able to measure it, because you're going to have to adjust. You got to give yourself 6 months to a year. And then, yes, you evaluate every month, so you change and see what's working, what's not working. But 30 days is not enough time for you to figure out if this is going to work or not.
I agree 100%.
So, yeah.
And that's why I try to tell people. The number one thing for coming in and what they're scared about is I'm scared. Like, they don't want to come in because they're scared.
Well,
they're scared of the unknown. They're scared of that.
Right.
The only way you're going to know is if you do it.
If you do it.
Yes.
Right.
Then same thing with the months. So that's why we break it down. You could do 3 months. Hey, if you're going to do 3 months, here's this. If you're going to do 6 months here, I'm going to give you a bigger reward because you're going to, you know, put in a little bit more time. But this is why I'm breaking it down, because you're not going to figure it all out the first month. First month is going to mainly be you. Yeah. It's going to be your display, your prices.
You're just viewing everything.
Yes.
Like you're not going to get no type of data. It's like how people collect data and surveys and stuff. It's like if you did a survey and only one person responded, it's like, what are you comparing it to? Like, you need data.
Well, now, like, and people ask. They're coming in and they're like, well, how's this? How's your sale? Well, I don't know. This is our first summer, but so far, we're good. Right. Now, I've done holidays before. Right. Now I know what to expect. I know the changes I have to make. Right. So, but you still prepare myself.
But you still even learning, because now this summer you're going to compare it to last summer, and then so your third summer should be better because now you have something to compare both of them to, right? And you just get better and better, and that's how you collect things. But you got to give yourself time.
You have to give yourself data. You have to give yourself information. So, and that goes for anything, you know. So I'm liking this. I'm actually like really receiving a lot of stuff right now. Like, okay, Brenda, you're not fucked up. We got this, girl. No, but it is hard. And I think like when you have reminders and you have, sorry, I totally just F-bombed.
That's okay.
but yeah, so yeah. I'm processing right now. I knew this was going to happen. I told you. So I was so nervous because I knew it was going to be
it was great
about
though.
Brenda.
I mean, I feel good right now. I feel great. Today's Friday. Even though Fridays are a trigger to me now. I mean, we talked about that, but I feel good right now.
Gotta grow.
Huh?
Gotta grow.
Oh, I thought you said I had a girl.
No, you gotta grow.
You gotta grow. No, I know. So I'm I don't know what I'm gonna do later.
One Friday at a time.
One Friday at a time.
Yes.
Even though I miss my Fridays, but it's all good. One Friday at a time.
Friday at a time.
You know, earlier today I was like, I'm never going out on a Friday ever again. I said,
you're thinking too far.
I know. So I was like, because last Friday was just, oh my God, that was, I wasn't expecting that, but it was all good. It happened. It is what it is. But yeah, all right.
So yeah, just so much. I've always said it's open door. When I say we have a family there, it's a family, and it's very much a healing place, and more than it's such a healing place for me. And I'm equal there. I'm just like the vendors. There's nothing. There's no difference between me and them. We're all learning. We're all growing. And we roll with the punches, and we.
Well, I'm looking forward to actually doing some work over there, and
that was
if
my
you
idea.
wanna, no, I know, if you wanna, do some. I'm not gonna call them workshops, but we should call it something else. But I really think you should have meetings like maybe once a month for people that want to come, and even if it's a small group of 5-6 people, ask questions like, "Hey, what's been working for your business?" Or just some type of inspirational thing.
I like that.
I think we all need that, and especially them because they're small businesses, they're thriving businesses, and I think that would inspire them and motivate them to see things from a different perspective.
See, that's why we need to do that podcast.
Yeah.
But we need a live podcast. We have an audience.
A live podcast. Okay. I'm with that.
Dun, dun, dun. See how that works? Surround yourself with people and
I'm
never
with
know.
that. All right. Anything else you want to leave with something?
Honestly, don't give up. Yeah. I've seen such heartache lately with so many people, myself included. Times are getting tough. Materials are getting tough. Things are getting expensive. Fees, all 3 of my merches increase their fees. You got to readjust. You have to readjust, and you can't give up on your dream because things may not be in your favor right now. And once you figure it out, then you'll get past that. But everybody has their valleys, and even though people come in and they see happy and they feel joy and they do all this stuff, at the end of the day, I'm human. I have the same struggles everybody else has. We all do, which is why we, all meet together and cry and pat each other on the back. We surround ourselves with people, like-minded people. We grow from each other. We help each other out. But just remember, when you come and you shop here, you are supporting people's dreams, and you are helping and encouraging people's dreams, and you are a part of an answered prayer, because we pray for sales. We pray for our businesses to grow and to flourish, and by you doing that, you are a part of that. And I had to message somebody this morning and say, I just want you to know that you were a part of you were a part of my prayers being answered. To remind them, keep doing what you're doing, because little do you know what impact you had in my life. Mm-hmm. And I think we have to, when you do receive from somebody and you receive something good, you have to also give that gratitude. 100%. Because then it lets them know, oh, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I helped, I contributed. Mm-hmm. The customers are just as important as the vendors, are just as important as owners, are just as important as, it all works together. Right. And we need that. And if there's something missing, then it's going to affect everything. Right. So if the customers aren't there, the sales are going to go down, the vendors aren't going to be happy, we're not going to have vendors. Right. Vice versa. That goes for everything, and that's where you just have to apply it in different views. And that's when I was like, okay, I'm seeing it that way now. So you're thankful for everybody. Right. Everybody's a part of the spider web.
Actually, 100%. Yeah. And thank you for the message you sent me early on in the week. Aww. Was it last week or this week?
I think it was last.
Yeah, last week. I appreciate that because it was out of the blue, and I was really grateful for that. I'm grateful for the moments like that.
That was really put on my heart.
No, I know. I
Like,
can tell.
No, and
And that's why I say I appreciate it.
thank you. Oh, thank you.
It really brightened my day today. Like I needed that day.
Well, I think we all need reminders of how
Yeah.
amazing we are.
100%. So my mic drop is, to effectively handle struggle, we need to view it as a path to development. And that's from Dr. Adam Fraser. So you guys, like Brenda just said, don't give up. Do something every day, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, work on your mental health, because it's important. It's going to help you through the struggles. Like I just said, you got to view it as a path to development. Whatever it is, find it. I always talk about this a lot. Get a playbook together. Put a playbook together, and every day, I have 20-some things on my playbook, and every day I try to pick something and I do it for 5-10 minutes, and that's what helped me with my mental health. I read a lot, so don't give up. Struggle well. Struggling well is a great thing. So that's my mic drop.
I love it.
All right, y'all. We out of here. Thank you again, Brenda. Appreciate you as always. You are such a huge pillar in this community. Inspiration. I can't wait to see. You're already making a big impact.
I can't wait to see.
You're going to make a bigger impact. It's going to be great. Amazing.
We're all going to do it together.
All right. We out of here. Be well.
Bye.